A Tempest Over Tea, 1770 to 1774, from George versus George, the American Revolution, as seen from both sides. It just so happened that on the very same day as the violence in Boston, Parliament and King George over in London were trying to keep the peace. They got rid of all import taxes except for one tiny tax on British tea. They thought that would solve the problem, but it didn't. Lots of colonists resented paying any British taxes, no matter how tiny. It was a matter of principle. Some refused to drink British tea and drank tea smuggled from Holland instead. And others, including George Washington, just stopped drinking tea altogether. By 1773, the British East India Company had so much unsold tea sitting around that it was about to go broke. To keep this tea company in business, Great Britain's Prime Minister, Lord North, proclaimed that absolutely nobody except the East India Company could sell any tea in America. To convince colonists to buy the tea, prices were set so low that even with tea taxes, the company's tea cost less than any other tea sold in England or in America. The colonists loved tea, but most of them still thought that this was taxation without representation. British tea either rotted in warehouses or got sent straight back to England. Before long, Royal Governor of Massachusetts Thomas Hutchinson declared that unless the tea tax was paid, none of the tea shipped to Boston Harbor could be sent away. If the tea was not unloaded, ship commanders would force it on shore under the cover of their cannon's mouth. On the night of December 16th, 1773, some Sons of Liberty covered their faces and hands with coal dust, disguised themselves as Mohawk Indians, and very calmly filed on board 3 ships filled with tea. Hundreds gathered to watch as the men split open 342 chests of British Darjeeling tea with tomahawks and fed all 45 tons of it to the fish. Most Britons were outraged when they heard news of the wanton destruction. Americans were clearly a race of convicts. They had gone too far and must be punished. 6 months later, the king and an angry parliament closed Boston Harbor. Nothing could come in, and nothing could go out.